welcome back. This is Mary from Around the Craft Room. Well, I'm back to show you how I'm going to start working in my folio. I've made this in one of the last videos that we put up, and this is where we are. So we made the folio and decorated the pages, and it opens up like this, and then back and top like that, and then it has this little waterfall effect in it that has all these little pages. So this thing has got a lot of real estate when you start putting stuff in it. So when we put something on this page, it gives us a page to go over here. I'll show you that in a minute when we get to that. But I just wanted to show you that I usually do, when I decorate something like this, I usually do it with a theme in mind. Well, it was kind of hard for me to come up with a theme this time. The last one I decorated was like this one. I think I've showed you this before. And this one was all about a cruise. So it had a lot of tags and stuff and pictures about the cruise. So this time I didn't have a big event, that I've done to fill this whole folio. So I came up with the idea of doing highlights of 2024. Okay, before we start decorating our pages, I wanted to show you what we have left of our papers that we had finished doing the backgrounds and stuff in. So that little kit of papers, this is all the papers we have left, which we might use bits and pieces of that, and then we have a couple of sheets left, and that's about it. But we also had these little cut aparts, and I went ahead and cut those and backed them on some cardstock, inked around all of them, and so we'll have all these little, we can turn them into tags or little, I don't know, little note cards, whatever we want to use. So we have those to work with. Then I went ahead and got out just the brown papers that we had used before. And so we'll probably be using some of these for background papers from this little paper pad. Okay, so that's what I've started with. Okay, so let's get started. Now, this is going to take some time, and I'm not going to be able to do this all in one time. So I will be doing this over maybe even days or weeks. I don't know. It depends. I did go and print out a few pictures from a few highlights. There's a hike that we went on. This, of course, was the eclipse last April. And then I had some pictures from the 4th of July, and that's just the ones I've printed out so far. So I'll have some more pictures to print out. And the first thing I did, I've already done this, is I told you I was going to put something on these little strings that we tied these in. So I put a key. I had some little keys, so I picked a key out and I put a key on one of them. And then I'm going to find another charm. I'm going to pick out another charm to put on this, and I have the little packet of charms here. Let's just look through this. I saw this little fairy on a moon. I thought that was really cute because I have something going on later in the book. Like, I won't be doing all this in the right order, but later in the book I'll have some stuff from a Renaissance fair, and of course they have fairy days and all that stuff. So I think this little fairy charm would be a cute charm to put on here to start with. So we will just tie that on the end of our string here that ties our book together. Let's see how long we want it. I want it long enough that when you have the book closed, it's going to hang out. So about like this, I guess. Okay. And I'll just double knot it on there. tight on there pretty tight, so it will stay on there. And that way when the book is closed, like this, the charms will still show out the bottom. I'd cut that piece off that string. Okay, so that's what we have there. And then we'll get started on our pages. I had just finished a diamond art project, and I have a lot of these diamond art drills left. So there's always a ton of those left whenever you do a diamond heart. And so I printed off just this little tag that says highlights of 2024, and I've started putting some little drills on here just to add something character to it. And this is what I'm going to put on my first little page. So first thing I'm going to do is, I think I'll round the corners, because I rounded the corners of those things. So I think I'll just take and round the corners of this little banner. And then I may go ahead and get some ink and ink around it, all of it. Let's go with some orange, and then we're going to finish putting our little drills on. So all I did was go in and put glue around the numbers like this, and then go in with my little picker up thing and pick up the drills and put them on there like that. Another thing you could do with this is, I don't have one of those pens that like glue pens that you use for embossing, but if you had one of those glue pens that you use for embossing, you could just write, put some glue on that, and then pour some embossing powder over it and emboss the letters. That would be cute too. But as most crafters, use what you have, and this is what I had on hand right now, so this is what I'm using. So let me do the 4, and then I'm probably not going to glue this in the book right now because it needs to dry, and then I need to put a sealer on top of it so so they won't fall off. So I probably will have to wait and do that, but I'll show you that here in just a second. Let me get this done. Okay, so I'm going to let them dry, and then I'm going to put a sealer over them before I put them in the book. But this is the way I will put them in there. I'll just end up gluing them in right here on this first page, which makes this to fall over, and so you will have the second page, and then you will have all this real estate. You can add another paper or something too, and then add whatever you want to put on the next one. Okay, so this is just the beginning of the book, and like I said, I have a lot of pictures and a lot of more stuff to put in there, but I'll just be doing a little bit at a time, and I'll bring you back when I've got something going on, and then when I get done, I'll bring you back and show you the whole book decorated. Okay, this is what I put on top of these so they would stay on there, and I let them dry, and when I put them on there, it smeared the top of this, but I was going to redo it, but I thought it would be fine. It's okay. And then I went ahead and glued it to this page, and this is why we don't do all the pages at one time, because we don't know what the back of them is going to be. So this makes the first page, and then I turn this over, and I've cut a couple of pieces of paper. So this is how you decorate the second page, and then this is the way we did all the rest of them. And then I'm just going to glue these on here and get ready to start making the next page. I've used double-sided tape to put this down with, and this is how I did that next page. So I'm getting ready to start this. Now what I'd like to do is each one of the things that I do, I want it to be a little bit longer so it will show up past this one. So this next one will be, I'm going to use some of these tags here, and so it's going to be longer than this one. And then the next one will be longer until so on. Okay, so I've went and printed out some pictures. So in January, I came up with a little folder here. And in January, my husband got me a countertop and made me a counter for my sewing room. And then we got a pegboard and started organizing all the stuff on the pegboard. So I put that in a folio thing. So I'm going to tape that in there, which will be folded out like this. And then my granddaughter got me some birthday cakes for my birthday, which is in January. So I'm going to take one of these, again, one of these cards, and I'm going to tape that in here, and then I'm going to put the picture on this. So this is what I'm going to do, and then another one of these. I'm going to do it to the back side of this, and then my daughters came over for my birthday, and we did a scrapbook party. So this is how this is going to be. I'm going to tape these all down, and then I'll be right back. I'm back, and I've got this glued in, and I put the little folder in here on the back of this first page, and I put these little die cuts on there. It says, "You made my day." And then the folder opens up like this to show those pictures. I put a little paper clip, cute little paper clip, a little heart on it, to keep that shut like that. And these were stickers. I put them on some cardstock, and then I cut around them and added those to that. And then this is where I put those tags like this. I've glued them to the back of this, and then I've bordered my pictures. This is the cake pictures, and then this is my daughter's there. And then on the back of here, I just added a couple of pictures. This is freeze drying stuff. This is starting my journey with freeze drying, and we started it with making candy. And this was taffy, and then I put it in some hot chocolate. That was really cool, that peppermint taffy and some hot chocolate. And so that's where I'm at, and I'm going to get ready to start my next page, which I think is going to be a hike. And I think I'm going to put these two pictures in here, or these set of pictures. There's a hike we went on. I think I'm going to add that in there. And what I've got is, I've got this thing full of die cuts and just tags and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going to be using some of this stuff. So I just was looking through here, and I think I found this die cut that I like. And I just keep that handy with all the odds and ends I put on there whenever I'm doing die cuts, and I'll just cut a few extras out of scraps and throw them in that tray. So I think I'm going to put this on here like this, and then add this picture here. And this also, see, it makes it come out a little bit further for the next page. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to put that on there, and maybe I'll write what hike we were on, and then get ready to start the next page. Okay, I'm back, and I will show you what I did with this page, where we were at. So I took and found the little die cuts, and I put the picture on it, and just glued it to this next page, which is the next flap over. So page 3, glued it to that, and then put the picture on top of it. Then I found some of these banner die cuts, and I glued one of those to the front and one to the back. So it's kind of like sandwiched in there. So this page is sandwiched in there. And then I just put another smaller one up there, and then I wrote the name of the park where we went for a hike. So this, when it flips over, this one is sandwiched in. And so this time I've already done a page with this stamp I had, which has the moon, or the moon covering the sun there. And so in April, of course, we had the eclipse. And so I took a couple of pictures and took a picture of my dog holding the glasses over him. And here's the glasses. and I just stapled them to this next page. I covered it with just a piece of paper so I could write on it. And then we wrote, you know, I live in Arkansas, so we were in the full pattern of the eclipse. We watched it with some neighbors. So that was that. And then here's, what are we on? Page 4? 1, 2, 3, I guess, on the next page, which was page 4. And I just covered this with some pattern paper. And I'm getting ready to do a full page here. So I've got this, and I'm just going to make a pocket here. So I'm going to glue this down where I just glued this to a piece, or this paper to a piece of cardstock, and then I cut a hole in it and inked all around it. So I'm just going to glue this down and make a pocket to this next page. Oops. Like this. Okay, I had to go and take this apart because I glued it on both ends, but I forgot to glue the back side, which would have meant my tags would have kept falling through, hanging up in the book. So let's start that over. And so I've got this glued down, and this is where I'm going to be putting some of these tags, or these note cards, whatever we want to call them. And this is going to be, they should hold out a little bit longer where they'll make the next page. But even if they don't, I'm going to be putting some larger tags on the back of this, which will make it a little bit longer. So this is what I'm doing for this page, is going to be like summer. So summer's here. I'm just going to add one of these over here to add some top on there. I'm not going to glue it to the glasses, but I am going to glue it to this part. Then we're going to put a sign that says, "Hello, Summer." A little banner, another little die cut. That I'm big on those right now. So let me just glue this all in here. Just add that to the top of our card there. It says, "Hello, Summer." And with that, we had the 4th of July. So I'm going to put a 4th of July picture here. There's some 4th of July pictures on there. And then my dog is in front of the fan, so she's trying to stay cool. And then I'm just going to add a glass of lemonade on here, like this. And I like rub-on, so I just put a little rub-on happiness on this one. Let's see, and I'm going to put that in here kind of like this. So let me get that all glued down, and let's see what we're doing on the next one. Okay, I've got this page glued down. This little die cut came from the Spellbinders advent calendar that I did in December, and I just made an extra little glass of lemonade, a little flower that I just colored and cut out, and of course the 4th of July picture, and a little banner that says happiness. On this one, you know how I like to layer things, so I couldn't just put that on there by itself, so I had to find something, another die cut that I put underneath here, and I found this cute little faux paper clip, and I put that on there. So these tags go in here, which they don't have anything on the back of them yet, but they will have pictures from the summer on them. Okay, so we're down to the next page, which is the next to the last one. Not sure what I'm doing with this one yet, but I wanted to show you what else I've done because I've skipped ahead. On this next page, I've just added a couple of layers of paper. So I've added just a little belly band across here, and then some more little die cuts that says "just saying hello." And in this one, I just did a piece of our paper that I folded and of course inked around all the folds. and it's, you know, I can write on it later. And then I'll just put this under the belly band. So that's what goes on that page. And then on this page, I haven't put anything here. It's going to be something like Renaissance or something. And so I've got a couple of pictures of me at the Renaissance Festival. And then in this pocket that I made, I've just put the sheet from the Renaissance Festival on there. A little map that they had. So I just put that in there. And then put a couple of pictures in here like this. Okay, I've already done the bottom of this one. So the bottom of this one, and I just took, I'm using up all those tags and all those little things we had, because we had a whole bunch of them. And so I'm trying to use all these things up. So I did a couple of those, and what I did was I found another die cut, but these die cuts are things that I had made with a box of them. These are cut out of aluminum, which is actually, that looks like a Pepsi can or something, Coke, Dr. Pepper can. And then I just cut them out on the die cut and then embossed them and inked them up with alcohol ink. So that's what those are. And so I took one of those, punched a hole in it, and put a little brad in it. And luckily, when I made this, I glued it on with double-sided tape so I could pull it apart a little bit so I could put the brad in there. So I made this where you can turn it like this, and then these two flaps open up. And this holds them down. I can turn it back around, and that holds those down like that. So that's that flap. And then the top one, I'll show you this one in a minute. The top one, okay, so I just put a little corner pocket on there, and then I just put in a couple of these in there. Of course, I can add pictures or write on the back of those later. And I just did this with some little brown paper, and then this little die cut, which I have a bunch of these stamps or stickers. I have a bunch of these stickers, and so this is one of these little stickers that I just had. Anyway, that was what I did on the top of that one. Now, let me go ahead and show you what I've done over here on this back side. I did this with a string on this like this because it didn't want to stay down. And of course, I'm adding charms to the bottom of them. Again, I just put a couple of, cut out some circles out of the little circle punch. And then poked a hole in them and put brads in them like this. So I can keep this tied down like this, which would hold it down. But when you undo it, and then you pull this tab at the bottom, it's a waterfall. So this was a very interesting night here in Arkansas. Very seldom do we see the northern lights, but this date, which I'll have to look back on my phone to see what the date was, but last summer, it was a very clear night, and we saw the northern lights, which I thought was really cool. So I had to put a little waterfall in with them. And then I just did some rub-ons. Anyway, so that's what I've done with that one. And then, of course, like I said, I've still got this page to do. But when you close it all up, like this, originally, this is what I was going to do because I didn't want to lose this page, and I wasn't crazy about this page showing over like this. But when I was looking through the tray, I found this cute die cut, which I think is really fun, and I decided I would just put this on here like this, and so this will be now my front of my book. So I'm going to just glue that on there, and this will be the front of the book. I'll probably, if I had magnets and did it ahead of time, I would have probably put magnets in that, but I'll probably still have to put the ribbon tie around it, which I'm planning on doing anyway. And so I'll probably still put this ribbon around it to tie it like this. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. And then I will think about the rest of the pages that I've got to do. I don't have very much left. And of course I had a lot of stuff going on this year. And I haven't put any pictures of family in here yet, because I will do that after I get through filming it. And so there will still be room in here to put some family pictures. I still have the top here to do, this side, and then this page, and put something on there. So that's all I've got left. I probably won't put anything on the outside of that unless I put some words or something on it, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, I'm down to the last page, and this page I just put a piece of paper on there and put a piece of our pattern paper on it and made a little pocket. And in this pocket, I have got an envelope. And in the envelope, I just did a piece of this, of our pattern paper, inking around all of it, of course, like I do. And then put it in the envelope, and it goes in this little pocket, like that. So this is our last page. This is all we have left. We do have the top of this one, and then on this one up here, I just put one of our little tags, and it had a little crown on it. So I had some of these little sticker books, and I found a crown picture. It's a sticker, and then I just put it on a piece of cardstock, inking around it, and so that will fit in that little pocket up there. So, like I said, I'm not sure if I'm even going to put anything on that one, so I don't know. I did make a little booklet. Well, I will make a little booklet when I find my needle. I've lost it, but I've got a little booklet that I'm adding into here, and it's just going to be for me to do any writing or remembering anything from this year. So it has our last piece of full paper on it. And saying that, this, out of all that paper pad, or that little paper package that we had, this is all I have left. I have some tags, and then this piece of paper. So I don't have enough piece of paper to put on anything here, but what I've done is I've made a couple of tags. This is the first ones I've actually had to go cut, because everything else I used out of my scrap little tray. So I've got this on here, and to add any of these paper pieces, I'm just going to go in and take a couple of these and put them behind the tags like this. And yeah, just kind of like that. And then I'm going to make these tags into pockets like that. And then we're going to put the rest of these tags in there. And so they're going to be sticking in here like this. And then the back of this, since I'm going to turn it over and this is going to be white, I went ahead and cut some more of these, and I'll just cut them off and add them to the back of the tags like that. All right, I'm going to get this all glued down, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've got these tags glued down. I just went and glued these little strips of paper in here, so you can't tell that it's not a whole piece of paper behind it. I glued these tags down. I backed the back of them with a little piece of the same paper I cut them out of. And then I've got these two little things to put in here, like this. I didn't punch holes and make strings in those, but I did put some embroidery floss in this. So I'm not sure if I'm going to put any pictures on that, but if I do, it will be family pictures or something from the Renaissance Fair. this will probably be pictures from people at the Renaissance Fair, which I won't film. So that will be put in there later. And then across here, and maybe even some sayings or something on that. Now, I did go back and did some rub-ons. I did a little rub-on here. My books are never finished. Whenever I see these, whenever I open them up and I go through them again, and I find something on my desk or a rub-on or a sticker or something like that that I like, I add to it. A lot of more interesting things happened throughout the year. I got a new great-grandbaby. I didn't add any pictures of family in here, so I wasn't able to add all that in there. But let's close it up and open it up again, and then I'll show you the book. So it will be closed up something like this. Oh, okay, like that. And then we're going to open it up. I may find a better closure. I would like to do like a something that holds it shut, but like I said, I don't have any little magnets right now. I might come up with those later. But anyway, so we open it up like this, and it just folds out. This is our first page, highlights of 2024, and our little paper clip that holds this little thing here that has a couple of pictures. And then it has some stickers and pages here. Second page has got some tags on it. Third page has got a bigger page on it, and it's got a banner there. And our fourth page comes out a little bit further with our glasses. Our fifth page comes out a little bit with all of our tags that we put in there. This is page 6. Again, it's going to have pictures on it, so I'm not putting them on there right now. So that comes out there like that. And then we have our little booklet that stays in here. I could put it in there, but I just laid it in there. And then the top and bottom. The top has got a little tuck spot right there. It's got a little tag in it. And this one's got 2 tags in it. And then the bottom one opens up like this, where we can put something there. And this just closes up. And then, of course, our last one, which has got the waterfall. So, this is our folio that I did, inspired by a folio I saw Tim Holtz do. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I've got to get things cleaned up now so I can start on my next project. I appreciate y'all all watching. Please leave comments if you have any questions. Just leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.